Welcome to the Head Trash Show. My name is Alexia Leachman and I'm the founder of Head Trash, home to the new and unique head trash clearance method that removes unwanted negative thoughts, feelings and emotions quickly and effectively so that you can achieve clarity, confidence and contentment in your life. My goal with this podcast is to teach you how to create some headspace by helping you to unpick what's blocking you and sharing some tips and how-tos for clearing it. Tune in every week as I share simple strategies to help you to achieve confidence and clarity in your life and business. To find out how to clear your head trash quickly and effectively using our unique method, pop over to headtrash.com to get our free download and subscribe for our free head trash clearance updates. And now for the show. Hello and welcome back to the Head Trash Show. This is me, your host, Alexia Leachman. Now, today I want to talk about the undeniable link between having a healthy body and a healthy mind. Because they are fundamentally connected. We are a holistic system and we can't expect to have a healthy body without having a healthy mind. But also, when you take the time to bring about healthy habits in your body, then you'll start to notice similar healthy habits begin to manifest in your mind and vice versa. And that's what I want to talk about today, because one thing I'm seeing quite a lot at this time of year is all these people starting diets, starting new regimes, cutting out things from their diet, going without alcohol for a month, starting to eliminate certain food groups as in the hope to lose weight. And then they fail, they find that they can't do it. There's so many tweets I'm seeing at the moment with people that have just completely failed to even live without alcohol just for 1 month. So you see these habits that we try and bring about to make healthy changes in our lives, people struggle with. They find it really, really hard. So today's podcast is really about helping you to think about, well, maybe if you are struggling to bring about healthy habits of the body, then maybe a good place to start is to start addressing the habits of the mind. And that might help you address those habits of the body that you want to change. And equally, if you want to start changing the habits of the mind and start changing those negative thoughts, feelings and emotions that you're having, but you're struggling, then maybe a good place to start is with the body, because that can almost kickstart the work that you need to do. It's a bit like taking the back door. Maybe when you've got so much of a job to do, either with the body or with the mind, maybe starting with the other might be much easier for you to start getting some effects. So almost get the thing going, get it off the ground. Once you have a little bit of momentum, then you can start addressing whatever it is that you want to address directly. I hope that makes sense. So basically what I want to do is share some tips and things to help you get going with this, to start restoring balance with your healthy body and having a healthy mind together. Because when you have both, my goodness, then you're on fire. And that's where we all want to be, right? So now, obviously, one of the things that underpins what I'm going to be sharing is the idea that our mind is a powerful thing and that we really do have the potential to bring about enormous change just through the power of our thoughts. And I know that some people struggle with this, the idea that our thoughts are enormously powerful. They don't really accept that fully. And of course, I know there are a lot of you that get it completely. But if you're somebody that doesn't fully appreciate the full enormity of the power you have in your mind, then let me just share with you a few interesting experiments that might just help you to realise just how powerful your mind really is. So I've got 3 I want to share with you. So first of all, what I want you to do is just close your eyes and imagine in your hand that you have a beautiful, juicy, fresh lemon. And just let it sit there and hold it. Give it a bit of a squeeze and imagine those juices that are inside it. Now I want you to imagine that you've got a knife and you're going to cut the lemon open. And as you cut it, just look at the juice spilling out on the side. Just look how juicy that lemon is. And now what I want you to do is pick up 1/2 of the lemon and just bring it to your mouth and bite into it and just have a good old suck on that juice and really, really enjoy it. Notice how that's feeling in your mouth. Notice what else you're noticing. Now just jump outside of your imagination for just 1 minute. and just notice if there is actually anything happening in your mouth. Most people, when they go through that, notice that they actually start salivating. Their body actually starts responding to the idea that they're biting into a lemon and the sourness and the bitterness and the juiciness of that experience. And their body starts creating a response to that thought. So what did you notice during that? And did you start salivating? So that's just one very simple way of really clearly seeing that the mind can start bringing about changes in your body just by thinking about something as simple as a lemon. So just imagine if you start imagining and thinking about things that have got more magnitude, more importance, and more that carry more weight in your life. Okay, so just hold that thought, and I'm just going to share with you another experiment that's worth knowing about. Now, if any of you have been following the work of Masaru Emoto, then you'll know what I'm about to share. Masaru Emoto is a Japanese water scientist, and he's made his name by taking photographs of crystallized water just as it's about to freeze. And he's got a series of beautiful images that he's published in books and videos across the net. Google his name and you will find a ton of work by Masaru Emoto. But essentially what he's done is he's crystallized these water droplets, or this water just as it's freezing, and the water itself has been subjected to certain thoughts or external stimuli such as music. And he's found that when there have been positive thoughts directed towards the water before it was frozen, it created a very different kind of water crystal to those pieces of water crystal that were exposed to negative thoughts, hateful thoughts, dark thoughts, or negative music, So again, we've got this idea that water responds to thoughts. Water responds to music, whether it's a positive music. So, for example, Vivaldi's Four Seasons created very beautiful crystalline structures that almost replicated the four seasons themselves when you look at the shapes that were created. And yet when there was heavy metal music and very aggressive music played to this water, the shapes, the colours, it was very, very different. It was very dark. There was no real structure. It was all very mashed up and very sort of very dark. And so again, you can see how something like water is responding to thoughts. Now, you just think for 1 minute how much water is in your body. There are many different percentages that are quoted, but approximately we are 80% water. So if you imagine that you are having positive thoughts most of the time, then the water in your body is going to be picking up on that, and that is going to be creating a very positive response in your body. Whereas if you're having a lot of negative thoughts, then again your body will respond to that because you are 80% water. So if you want to look into this a little bit more, and I urge you to, because Masaru Emoto's work is highly inspiring. I will be embedding a video of some of the work that, some of the beautiful crystals within the blog post where I'm hosting this podcast on the Head Trash site. So do feel free to pop by and have a look. But again, just wanted to share with you the power of the mind. Now, just a last little experiment that I think again is worth looking at, which is a very different kind of experiment, but again indicates the power of the mind, and which you can find very easily online, particularly on YouTube, is a rice experiment. And somebody has videoed having 2 different containers of cooked rice left out, and one container of rice was told that it was loved and adored and had lots of loving energy given to it, and the other container of rice was sworn at, it was told that it was hated, and it was given lots of negative energy. And the pot of rice that received all the love didn't develop any mould, and yet the one that received a lot of hate energy moulded incredibly quickly. And that video again is available on YouTube, and it's well known. So again, you can see for yourself the power of the mind in these very, very real ways, in a very visual way. And if you just sort of think about how that can affect you and your body, then I think it's fair to say that we must truly accept that the mind really is a powerful thing. So now let's just move on a little bit, really. Now, when you think about whether or not you look good or whether or not you feel good, if you think about when you look good, you feel great. And when you feel great, it helps you to maintain those healthy habits that require you to stay looking good. But when you think that you don't look good, you start to feel a bit rubbish, and then that kind of sends you onto this spiral of negative, self-sabotaging habits that contribute to you not looking good. You have these bad thoughts, and then to make yourself feel better, you turn to these other habits that don't really make you feel better in the long term. They're just like a quick fix. So you might have some cake or chocolate or a cigarette or some drugs or go shopping. All of these habits are actually hiding or helping to numb a horrible feeling within you that you just don't feel good on some level. And those habits can be very difficult to get out of. But let's say that you are somebody that's taken a look in the mirror and decided that you really do need to sort something out when it comes to your body. You really don't feel that you look good. In fact, you look terrible. That's your conclusion. And so you decide that you want to lose weight, get fit, do exercise, start a detox, do the diet, whatever it is that you want to do. But let's just stop right there for a minute, because just because you feel that you don't look good doesn't mean that you don't look good. Other people might look at you and think that you look fine. Think of people that you know. There are some people that we all know where you think, my God, she looks amazing, and yet she's constantly complaining that her bum's too big, or her thighs are too big, or that she can't get into her jeans. And you think, wow, but you look great. And then equally, you've got some people that you think, wow, they don't look brilliant, and yet they don't care, and they carry themselves as if they do look great. And actually that confidence that they bring to everything they do makes them look great. So you see, there isn't this kind of objective view that you look good. This kind of person that looks like this looks good, and if anybody looks like this, they look bad, and they are bad looking. It's nothing to do with that. It's all about how you feel about how you look. And so really, when you want to start making changes in the body, one of the first places that you really should start looking at is what's going on in your mind. You might look at yourself in the mirror and you might think, oh my goodness, look at that belly I've got, or the bum that could do with being smaller, or you think your arms are a little bit dangly, or your chin has got this nasty habit of multiplying in the occasional photo. But actually, what really counts are the thoughts that you're having about how you look. So when you do look in the mirror, what are you saying to yourself? Are you saying things like, God, I'm so fat, or I hate how I look, or I hate myself, or I hate my body? Now, you think about what I was saying earlier about the power of thoughts. Think about how that's affecting you fundamentally on the level of your body. And when examining our inner self-talk, a good barometer to help us figure out if the self-talk is healthy is to ask yourself this. Would I say this to a child of mine that I loved more than anything in the world? And if the answer is no, then you really shouldn't be saying it to yourself. And if you are, then you're probably suffering from a severe lack of self-love and acceptance. And this is where you need to start before you start tackling your body directly. Because otherwise, any attempts at losing weight or cutting back on the smoking, whatever negative habit that you want to change to bring about a healthy body, is not likely to be sustainable, because the thoughts and feelings that are leading to those behaviours will still be in place. And the thing is, when it comes to the unhealthy habits of the body, many of them will derive from this lack of self-love or respect. These unhealthy habits of the mind, if you will. So again, think back to how you would treat a child that you loved. Would you encourage the child to put nasty toxins in their body on a regular basis? Drinks, cigarettes, bad fatty foods, drugs. Would you encourage them to avoid exercising or taking time out in nature? If you had a really deep sense of respect and love for yourself and your body, would you do the damaging things that you're doing to it? Essentially killing it slowly over a long period of time. That sounds like torture to me. So let me just, before I finish with the top tips about how to kickstart your system from the body or the mind, I just want to share with you some head trash clearance tips on how you can start to increase self-love and accept yourself for who you are more readily. Because let's face it, I think we could all do with a little bit of that. And so what we need to start thinking about is, how can you love yourself more? How can you move yourself nearer to a place of self-acceptance? So what I'm going to share with you now is a couple of items that you might want to add to your head trash clearance to-do list. And if you don't know what I mean by head trash clearance to-do list, then I'll cover it separately in another podcast episode. So I'd urge you to go and listen to that one. But basically what I'm on about is work that you can clear on using our 5-step process that's free from our homepage at headtrash.co.uk. So by using the 5-step process, we can clear some of this negativity out of your thinking and out of the patterns that you create in your life. So some of the things you might want to add to your list if you want to build self-love and acceptance for yourself in your life are these. So first of all, obviously things like acceptance and being accepted, love and loving myself, accepting and giving compliments, because some people do find it hard to receive compliments and to give them, respect, trust and kindness. So all these, if you work on all these using our 5-step process and their opposites to make sure that you're doing a piece of balanced work, then you will start to notice significant shifts in your thinking and that inner self-talk that might be affecting your ability to start making some really positive changes in the habits that affect your body. Now, I could do a whole show on self-love and acceptance, and I might end up doing that actually. So I don't want to go into more detail in that right now, because there's so many more things that you can do to boost your self-love and acceptance. But what I want to dwell on in this podcast are habits that you can start introducing to start bringing about that balance in how your body and mind are connected, and how changing one can change the other. Okay, so now moving on to the bit that you're waiting for, which is really quick and easy tips that you can use right now to start bringing about a change. So if you feel really stuck and you really want to kickstart a change yourself, then these are going to help you to get off the starting blocks. Because once you've got momentum and you're feeling good about the progress that you're making, then you can start to address some of the bigger things that need attention when you're feeling strong enough and able to. Does that make sense? So let's think about the body first then. If you want to start exercising, don't set yourself crazy high targets that are easy to fail. Instead, set yourself some ridiculously easy targets that you can smash without even thinking. Do you remember when I spoke to sports psychologist Adrian Peck recently? He suggested that to start with only 15 minutes of exercise a week as your target. And the reason he said that is because by doing so, you're more than likely to exceed it, and that in itself will energize you and provide you with the energy and motivation to actually exceed your target. So even though you're setting yourself a really low one, you'll probably beat it, whereas if you set yourself a high one, you won't go near it, and then you'll feel rubbish, and then you'll stop. Now, so that's a really, really easy one, and one that definitely works, that I've already been implementing, and it's working a treat so far. So yes, I'm trying that one. Now, if you want to start losing weight or improve your diet, then these are a couple of easy ones that I think are going to really make a difference for you. Instead of eliminating a whole food group out of your diet or making really big changes that can seem quite overwhelming and would demand you to really change significantly your shopping habits and eating habits, this makes it very hard to maintain. So instead, just cut one thing out of your diet. Maybe it's sugar or cheese or white bread or pasta, rather than all of them all at once. And then just take it easy and slowly. And then it's more likely to become a lifestyle change. Otherwise, you're just going to go right back into your old habits. But again, if you don't want to do it that way, what you could do is cut more than one thing out. But then instead of just doing it, for a whole month, just do it maybe for 2 days a week or every other day. And again, this makes it much more achievable, but also it means you'll experience some results which will more likely motivate you further and enable you to keep up with your efforts. And also by doing it this way, you're going to miss out, or you'll avoid that sense of missing out on something and that sense of denial. Because when you think you're missing out or denying yourself of something, then that's not a very nice place to be, where you're not having things that you want. Whereas if it's just a couple of days a week that you're not having them, then that makes it much easier to digest, excuse the pun. So, this is a really great one for meat consumption, for example, where you could limit meat consumption to just 2 or 3 days a week, or you could do the same with dairy or refined products or alcohol, perhaps. And the other way is just to change one meal a day. So maybe you can just replace one meal with maybe a freshly squeezed juice or a nutritious smoothie or shake. And again, that might be another way to help you to start getting some quick results, but also not denying yourself anything. And these changes are more likely to be able to roll out into the rest of your life. Because the thing is, once you start making these changes to your diet and what you put in your body, you're really going to start noticing the effect on your thoughts, your feelings and your emotions. Cutting things like caffeine, sugar and alcohol out of your diet can massively improve your alertness and your clarity of thinking and your energy, and not to mention your motivational energy to persist with all these habits that you're trying to change. And the other interesting thing is that you'll notice is that when you start cutting stuff like that out, you'll need less sleep because your body won't need to spend so much of its downtime processing and eliminating the toxins. This means that you can have more time in your life to fill with your healthy exercise habits. So you see, there is a way of kickstarting it all slowly but surely. Now, let's go the other way now. Let's start with the mind. What can you do with your mind to start helping you to start making shifts in your body? Well, the first thing you need to do is start catching your self-talk and change your language. Notice whether you're saying these horrible things to yourself and using this negative language, and start catching it and start using positive words instead. And you can start introducing things like affirmations into your life to start really reminding yourself that you do love yourself, that you do look great, and you feel great too. And eventually that's going to start taking effect. Now, another one that's a really, really good technique to start making shifts in your mind is meditating. And meditating is widely accepted now for its ability to start cleansing your mind and reducing the appearance of negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions. But one thing that most people struggle with is finding the time to do it or remembering to do it and to get into that habit. So if that's for you, then I would suggest getting an app. And there are quite a few good apps out there that can help you to start introducing meditation into your life. And a couple that spring to mind are, there's a Headspace app, which is very good. I've heard lots of people talk about that really, really positively. And there's also a really great one from Mind Valley. They do some really great products to help you to start really bringing about shifts in your mind and getting you into that meditation habit. But the one that I really like right now is Breathe Sync. And Breathe Sync is I get an alert every day to remind me to do my meditation. It's measuring my breath, my heart rate variability, but I get a measure, and I love numbers, I love measures. So when I get a measure, I get almost to see what state my well-being is in, and it's really good for me. That's one thing that keeps me going back to the app, is seeing my score out of 100 in terms of where my well-being is at. So Breathe Sync is also the one that I'm finding that works really, really well for me right now. But if you don't like the idea of sitting quietly in a spot doing meditating, then try a different form of meditation, walking meditatively, chanting, stroke your cat or dog for 10 minutes a day and just focus on the feel of their fur and the love that's passing between you. Do a jigsaw. There's so many other ways of just stopping and calming things down and having quiet time. Now, the final thing I want to cover off, which I think you're going to expect completely from me, and that is obviously doing some head trash clearance. But seriously, doing some head trash clearance using our 5-step process will seriously speed things up, especially when it comes to things like your meditating habit. Now, I used to be somebody that was a huge meditator back in the day. I'd attend my local Buddhist centre and I'd regularly do their drop-in meditations. But even though I was doing that, I'd find it really hard. I'd really stuck and I would focus on my breath, and I'd really struggle with the mindfulness of breathing meditation to count beyond 3 or 4 without my mind wandering off. And then, life got in the way and I couldn't go to the centre anymore because I had a crazy job and all that kind of stuff. And then I discovered head trash clearance and started doing the work that I'm doing. And as a result of training in it and doing the work that I do, I then did a shed load of head trash clearance. And then the time came when I was able to go back to my Buddhist centre and get back into meditating. And I was amazed at the difference in my ability to meditate. Whereas before I could barely get past 3 or 4 without all these horrible thoughts piling in and me getting distracted and all that kind of stuff. Now I realised I could basically sit really still and count almost to 20 without getting distracted. And so basically I'd cleared so much inner negativity and clutter using the 5-step process that I share with you that it would enable me to maintain that inner calmness and clarity and go deeper with my meditation work. So you see, taking the time to clear your head trash will not only help you to clear the mind, but also can kickstart your ability to be kinder to your body, which in turn will come back and feed the healthiness of your mind. So you see, by restoring the healthy body, healthy mind, you can then really start bringing about huge shifts in your ability in life to start making happen the things that you want and living as awesomely as you want, doing the work that you want to do, building the business that you want to build, being the mother or the father that you really want to be to your kids, and being the friend and the loved one that you want to be for your community as well. It's much, much easier to be who you want to be and to live that person successfully when you have a healthy body and a healthy mind. So I hope that this podcast was useful, interesting, and you learned some stuff that you can take with you and start using in your life straight away. I really hope that you do. And if there's anything else that you'd like to add to this, then please jump into the Facebook group and let us know what your top tips are to start making those shifts, either starting with the mind or starting with the body. And I'd love to hear them. Thank you, and see you next week. You've just been listening to Alexia Leachman here on The Head Trash Show. If you enjoyed the show, I'd really appreciate you leaving a review here on iTunes. And don't forget to pop over to headtrash.com to get your copy of our free 5 Steps to Clearing Head Trash guide. So now stay tuned for upcoming episodes and more tips and how-tos for clearing your head trash and reclaiming your headspace. Until next time, bye for now.